Time to go to battle once again, and this time it is in the Formula Regional Middle East Championship 2024 here at YAS Marina. The big show is about to get underway. This is one of the toughest championships in single-seater racing, and the competitors know exactly what's at stake. As the drivers head out onto the circuit, we can give you a rundown as to who is who. Jake Sanson here in the commentary box as we gear up for another scintillating Formula Regional season, kicking off here in the Middle East on the YAS Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. We have a fabulous squadron of drivers across 9 different teams, and they're all going to give us plenty of exciting battles. Just as they're getting the tyres and brakes warmed up, we should let you know who is who. The Race GP team, all the way from France, have 4 very capable race drivers in the squad. Tuukka Tarpanen, the Tiger from Finland. He is in car number 1 with Jesse Carrasquedo Jr., the Mexican, along with Filipino Zachary David and the Norwegian Martinius Stenshorn. We hear that Kanato Lee of Japan is going to make his way into that team at some point in the season, but he's not here on this occasion. The Mumbai Falcons definitely have a strong lineup. Yugamuga Chukwu, the young McLaren Jr., is racing for the team, the American, alongside the Brazilian Rafael Camara, who returns to the team. And then 2 more rookies in Formula Regional. James Wharton, the reigning F4 UAE champion, steps up to Formula Regional, and his teammate is Arvid Lindblad in that car that you just saw go through the screen, the Red Bull colours, fresh off the back of winning Macau in the F4 trophy race in fabulous fashion. So let's see what he can do as he steps up into Formula Regional. Very different form of racing car. So this could be very interesting indeed. So now the contenders are gearing up. XL Motorsport comes into Formula Regional for the very first time. They've been a staple of F4 and won the title there in F4 UAE 3 times, but now they have British driver Noah Lyle and the Ukrainian star Yaroslav Vezalaho in the team. It's going to be a year of learning and exploration for them, but they are absolutely determined to make a play of it. Watch out for Taylor Barnard, the British driver who's been racing in Formula 3 all season long. And of course, he raced here last year, fought for the title, now is absolutely determined. He says to me earlier this week, when I spoke to him about it, he said, my goal here is to win the championship. If I do that, I will have enough super license points to race in Formula 1. Not test, race. So as far as Taylor Barnard is concerned, that is his big target. He's going to be joined in the team by Brad Abadoa, Tazanapol Intrafavazak of Thailand, and Ricky Liu, the Chinese driver. We also have the team from MP Motorsport here, just about, I should point out, because obviously MP Motorsport was engineering the F4 Indian Championship last month out there in Chennai, but there was a delay in getting some of their equipment back, so they've had to beg, steal, borrow and loan all sorts of things to be ready for this campaign. But fortunately, the teams here are all incredibly friendly. They've been helping out and assisting to make sure that MP Motorsport can still compete. They've had a great lineup of drivers confirmed for this as well. Bruno Del Pino, Nikhil Bora, Valerio Rinicella, and Emerson Fittipaldi Jr., the son of the 2-time Formula 1 world champion and Indy 500 winner Emerson, who is here and very much in good spirits. I'm hoping that over the course of the weekend you'll hear from him. I did a fantastic interview with him earlier today, and I'm hoping you'll hear that over the course of the weekend. Santalok Racing have 3 very spirited drivers coming in as they step out of F4 and move up into Formula Regional. Pedro Clero of Brazil, Matteo De Palo of Italy, and Francis Teofil Nal, all part of the lineup. Going to be really exciting to see how they go. Teofil Nal has been lightning quick in testing, so expect big things from him. Pinnacle Motorsport has a very strong lineup. Alexander Abkasava of Kazakhstan, along with Giovanni Mascio of Italy. Finley Green, the British driver who was in Ginettas, but the Welshman has now stepped up into Formula Regional. And Mari Boya, the Spanish talent who races in Formula 3 and fought for the title in Euro Cup 3 last year, who won 12 months ago in the season opener of Formula Regional Middle East and fought for the title, is back once again. And he is racing for this team, the Pinnacle Motorsport squad. That isn't actually Mari Boya you're looking at, that's his teammate, Alex Abkasava. The R&B racing team from China are here once again. They've shaken up the lineup a little bit, and they've got 2 very talented drivers. Wang Shongwei returns, the GT driver who's been racing in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, and also Gao Yujia, who was actually pretty strong in testing, was up there towards the top 10. So there's still opportunities for him to do something special, so don't count him out. And then the final team, a returning team, Evans GP. They sat out in 2023, but the British team are back once again, and they have John Bennett, who raced for them in GB3, and Costa Tabares, the Australian, who did likewise. And here they are in Formula Regional Middle East. Great to see them. So now they're getting themselves up to speed. The lap times will obviously naturally be quicker than we saw from the F4 UAE cars. So Alexander Abkasava has already banged in his first flyer, a 1:43.8, just quicker than Noah Lyle. So already the pace is starting to come to the drivers now. A 1:43.8 is the first banker, if you will. And there is the man who set it, Alex Abkasava, the Kazakhstani driver. So still they're making a fabulous run as they continue on their way through. But it's going to be a really interesting situation for all of the drivers out there. Still gearing up to speed. And of course, Rory on YouTube points out that Taylor Barnard has just picked up a reserve driver role in Formula E. He has indeed with the Neom McLaren team. So that'll be really exciting to see how he goes. Rafael Kamara bangs in a fast one, 1:43.4, just quicker than the American Yuga Chukwu. My favourite for pole position in this one is Rafael Kamara in the number 8 car for Mumbai Falcons, as you look at James Wharton, last year's F4 UAE champion. But obviously he's going to have a really tough job of it. It's interesting how many drivers... Oh, no, sorry, that is Yuga Chukwu. I got confused there because it was the 13, but it's not, it's the 3, and that's because he has that very distinctive plain silver helmet livery, very akin to that of Mario Andretti. And the young man from New York, continuing on his way there, Yuga Chukwu, doing a great job. Teofil Nal, straight up into second place. Now, he's the one to watch for me. He's the danger man. Teofil Nal has a great chance of getting pole position. I'm corrected by Rory, who points out that Bennett and Taparis were actually part of the Rodin Motorsport team, as it was formerly known as Rodin Carlin last year, but they've now stepped up with Evans GP into Formula Regional. Thank you for clarifying. I do occasionally make mistakes, and I'll be happily the one who puts the hand in the air and says I do, and I'll always correct it with an opportunity. So Rafael Kamara leads at the moment. There he is, the Brazilian driver who raced in Formula Regional last year, don't forget. He wants to really put on a show here. There's yellow flags on the approach to the final chicane. So what's that in aid of? Well, I have to see if somebody's had an issue. Well, it's gone almost as quickly as it's put out. So whatever it is, it's clearly been removed as Marty Boya comes up to the top spot. The Spanish driver, Marty Boya, now hits the front end of the field. And he'll be very happy indeed with that. The pinnacle driver. Oh, red flags, red flags. The session has been stopped. So the session has been stopped. We think it's an issue up at turn 6, but the race has, or the session, I should say, sorry, has been paused. Not entirely sure what it is, but certainly over at turn 6, we think there's been an issue. So that's where we think the issue is going to be. Red flags are out. The session has been halted with 6 minutes and 59 seconds left on the clock. Not entirely sure what the situation is at the moment. We don't know specifically which car it is or what situation it is, but we'll try and pick up on it as soon as we possibly can. Only getting access to the pictures we've got here, so we'll find out if there's a particular incident. So the competitors are just getting themselves around the course and back to the pit lane again. They will reset, and that's a real problem because a lot of the drivers were just starting to get their tyres up to temperature as well, and that was about the point when you start setting your fast lap. So red flags now is a real headache for a lot of drivers out there, particularly the likes of Brando Badoa, Emerson Fittipaldi Jr., I would have said Tuka Tarpanen as well. All of them have not managed to get a decent lap time in that first part of qualifying, just as their tyres were looking to come good as well. So that's a real headache for a lot of drivers. Trying to see who else will get caught out as a result of that. Jessica Esquedo, Zachary David, Martinius Stenshorn. That's a big one in terms of the accolade of drivers there. So Martinius Stenshorn right in the back of it. Unfortunately, I can't clarify what the reason is for the red flag. We can't find anything official to tell you at the moment. We only have speculation. And I don't really want to confirm anything unless it is declared official, but everybody has come back into the pits anyway, as obviously that is the way things go under red flags. And Tuka Tarpanen, Jessica Esquedo, Zachary David and Martinius Stenshorn in particular really have been robbed there as far as flying laps are concerned. So that's a real problem for the contenders. Anyway, the competitors are all back in pit lane again. And at the moment, Marty Boya is sat on the top of the timesheets ahead of Rafael Kamara and Teofil Nal, with Matteo De Palo having done a very good job there in 4th place. Yuga Chukwu and James Wharton up in the top 6. Nikhil Bora, who is back in Formula Regional Middle East once again in P7. Arvid Lindblad, 8th on his qualifying debut. Alex Abkasava, who went very early for his qualifying lap, is doing a good job. Now, interestingly, the driver tracker says that everybody is back in pit lane. So I wonder if somebody's dropped some debris out there somewhere, or somebody's dislodged a barrier and carried on. Not entirely sure what it is, but certainly something has caused an issue. But there's a red flag for some particular reason. Now, the fastest lap has been set by Marty Boyer, a 1:43.1. Very quick time indeed. So we're now just waiting to see what the reason for the red flag is, or we may not get that until after the session, of course, and we'll figure things out. Now, there is the R&B Racing team with its two Chinese drivers, Wang Shengwei and Gao Yujia, getting themselves ready to go again. Gao Yujia has actually been fairly strong in terms of his qualifying prowess. He's not been too far from the pace. Wang Shengwei has obviously been trying to find the pace a little bit more. He's used to racing Porsche Carreras. Now, we're going to try and see a replay of something. This is the highlights of the session so far. Now, I don't know whether we're going to see what has caused the red flag or not, but certainly we're going to get to see some of the cars out on the circuit in the first part of the session. But it's looking very, very good indeed for Marty Boyer. That is for sure. The Spanish driver getting himself up to speed as the green light comes on the end of the pit lane. So we're back under qualifying procedure once more. Just trying to see if there's damage to any of the cars that's being sorted. Don't think so. Well, a bit of a mystery then as to why we had a red flag there. Not entirely sure what the situation is or why we ended up with a red flag, but certainly something was not quite right. Now, apparently, it's because of debris on the track. Okay, so obviously it was in a rather dangerous position, so they had to pull a red flag in order to reset things. And I have to say, I'd much rather prefer they red flagged the session to clear the debris and give everybody a chance of a clear lap, rather than have it there and have drivers' races and potentially weekends and even championship campaigns on the long run ruined by having a piece of carbon fibre out on the circuit that shouldn't be there. So, as annoying as it is, I think it makes much more sense to throw a red flag, but look how busy it's getting out there as a result. Everybody trying to get a fast lap in, particularly those that were just getting into their prime tyre life. So this is going to get busy, that is for sure. Now, Mohammed Sikil asks a really interesting question. Why not use the full circuit like the Formula One layout is? Well, that's a really good question because we're actually going to be using it for round 2 of the championship. We're using the corkscrew layout this time, but we're going to be using the full Grand Prix layout for round 2. And that's just to give a little bit of variation. It's to sort of mix things up a little bit for the drivers. We've got multiple layouts that we can use at the YAS Marina circuit. So why not use them is the answer. And particularly in the type of the corkscrew, it's a new challenge for the drivers in both Formula Regional and F4 because that circuit layout hasn't been used for 3 years. So essentially, it's time to shake things up a little bit. That's one of the reasons. The other reason, as Fred Herm actually points out, if you want full super license points in an FIA grade championship, you have to use 3 different circuit layouts. And of course, because we've only got 2 venues, Dubai Autodrome and here at YAS Marina Circuit, you need a 3rd circuit in order to make it full compliance for super license points. And therefore, we have a 3rd different layout in YAS Marina. We could obviously have had a 3rd different layout by using a different layout on the Dubai Autodrome, and we could still do that. However, that's the reason why we've used the corkscrew layout. So thanks for clearing all of that up and verifying it all on the YouTube stream. Great to have everybody with the facts at the fingertips. And you can see there everybody backing up and looking how it all goes. Don't worry, Josh. Yes, I do read the chat. I'm one of the few commentators that does read the YouTube chat. I find it very interesting to see what people's opinions are about different things. I can't read everything everybody says, for obvious reasons. However, there is some quite intuitive stuff on there, so I do like to keep an eye on it. Hello to all of you watching along. And certainly hello to all those of you who are very quick on the keyboard. Right, Marty Boyer, Rafael Kamara and Teofil Nal. That's your top 3 at the moment, from Matteo De Paolo, Ugo Wagachukwu and James Wharton. Now, are we going to get a change to that? That is the million-dollar question, because at the moment, they're back out on circuit, having had this qualifying session split in half. The big problem that we've got is that in the second half of the session, drivers were obviously having worked their tyres to a certain crescendo. Now they've got to try and heat them up again, but they won't be at their best. So drivers that didn't get a decent lap time in could actually be really stymied here by having done all the hard work to warm the tyres up and get them ready. Then they've got to go out and warm them up again, but they won't be at their best. So that's a real headache, and that really causes a big problem for all of the drivers out there that didn't get the chance to get a flying lap in at that particular point. So 3 minutes and 10 roughly to go in the Formula Regional Middle East Championship. For those who are watching this for the first time, this is essentially the segue between F4 and F3. The way that the world works in single-seater motors racing, you do your karting in your local, regional or international disciplines, then you step into cars for the first time. Usually in a national championship, F4 is the common choice, although if you don't come from a country where F4 races, then you've got to be a little bit more flexible and diverse. But most of the international countries that have an FIA Motor Racing Commission have an F4 National Championship. Once you come out of F4, you go up to Formula Regional. It's not Formula 3 yet. You get into Formula Regional next, and there are several Formula Regional Championships, one in Asia, one in Europe, one here in the Middle East, and in the Americas as well. There's also a Formula Regional Championship in Japan, and there are a couple of other places that are either going to have one or are about to have one. But that is essentially, there is a segue in between Formula 4 and Formula Regional. There is another segue as well, which is Euro Cup 3, but that's a conversation for later in the season. Then once you've completed Formula Regional, you are ready essentially for Formula 3, which is where you step into the Formula 1 paddock. Then you go from Formula 3 to Formula 2 to Formula 1. But there's that little segue in between F4 and F3, which is Formula Regional. If I haven't explained that correctly, I clearly wasn't telling it right. If none of that made any sense, then either you haven't had your bacon sandwich or you haven't been listening properly. But that's fine. Don't worry about it. There's plenty more details on how it all works on the website, fregionalme.com. And Cowell obviously making a very intriguing point. Don't tell that to Max Verstappen. He didn't get that memo about the road to F1. Yeah, there have been a few drivers over the years that have done it slightly differently. Kimi Raikkonen, we're all looking at you. Yeah, fascinating. And that's essentially the road to Formula 1. If it's linear, is in essence F4, F Regional, F3, F2. In fact, we shouldn't even be looking at Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who's had a rather different path out of it. He's gone straight from Formula Regional into Formula 2 because they felt he was ready. So fair play. Right, Taylor Barnard goes up to the top spot now. 1:43.034 for the man who had the experience of last year. And Tuukka Tarponen has banged in a 1:43.199. So here we go. The battle for pole position is raging as Alex Abkasava has come up to P5. Ugo Chukwu, P6 from Zach David, the Maltese driver, going well. Ahead of Rinicella, Wharton and Stenshorn. So now they've managed to get those flying laps in. So it's really starting to come together now as Zach David bangs in a 1:43.2 to go quicker than Ugo Chukwu. This is going to be fascinating from this point on. So this is really going to be exciting stuff as they continue. Excellent work so far. Taylor Barnard on the pole for the moment. Mari Boya, Rafael Kamara and Tuukka Tarponen. The Tiger is in 4th place. Everybody from Finland just went bananas as their boy has managed to get himself out of a hot spot and into a prime position. There is the number 5, Taylor Barnard, in the all-new look PHM Ike's racing machine. It looks stunning, especially up close. If you get the opportunity to have a look at that car in the flesh, if you're here trackside listening along, do go and have a look at the PHM Ike's garage if you get a chance. Those cars look absolutely beautiful. Checkered flag is out. We didn't get much running in qualifying in the 2 halves, but we got enough to put Taylor Barnard in provisional pole position. Can he go faster still on his final flying lap? No, it remains a 1:43.0. His past time was a 1:43.45, so that won't change things dramatically for him. But are there going to be any shuffles of the deck? Taz into Vuvuzak finishes up in 7th position with a flyer right at the end there. So Taz into Vuvuzak, or Turn as he's known to his mates, 1:43.333, good enough to be P7. Brando Badua creeps up to 13th with his final flying lap. Mari Boya cannot topple Taylor Barnard with his final flyer, so it looks like the British driver is going to be on the top spot. So excellent work from Taylor Barnard. Sounds like somebody's really locked up in the background there. Didn't quite see where that's happened, but Taylor Barnard has gone top spot in front of Mari Boya. James Wharton bangs in a 2nd place right at the end there. Brilliant run from the Aussie. He's gone from F4 UAE champion to front row of the grid in his first Formula Regional Middle East race. That is awesome from James Wharton. Excellent stuff to go 2nd. Topples Boya and Kamara, drivers who have done at least 1 year in Formula Regional. In Mari Boya's case, this is his 4th campaign in Formula Regional of any kind. Tuukka Tarponen P5. Alexander Abkasava must be delighted with P6. He'll be very happy indeed with that. As David is 7th, Stenshorn is 8th, Ugo Chukwu is 9th, Rinicella in 10th position. Tuukka Tarponen manages to get a 2nd place lap time there. Boy, oh boy, is race 1 going to be exciting now, as Tuukka Tarponen eclipses the man he fought for in the F4 UAE title by 1/100th of a second on his final flying lap. There he is, number 1, is almost number 1 altogether. Tuukka Tarponen, the Tiger, has done a brilliant job there. Excellent. P2 right at the final moment of qualifying. Just when we were all going, he's been robbed, he's been robbed. Don't you dare try and steal anything from a tiger in anger. Tuukka Tarponen snatches the front row. Absolutely brilliant. So Taylor Barnard from Tuukka Tarponen, James Wharton, Marty Boyer and Rafael Kumara. Then Aleksab Kasava in a brilliant P6. Zach David in front of Martini Stenshorn, who also salvages a top 10 for the grid. Yuga Chukwu P9, Valerio Renicena in 10th place. Arvid Lindblad in 11th place in his first Formula Regional qualifying session. Taz Interfuvazak P12. 13th place for Théophile Nile, then Brando Badua and Matteo De Pala, the two Italians. Ricky Liu in 16th place in front of John Bennett, then Jessica Rusquedo and Nikhil Bora. He'll be really disappointed with 19th. Pedro Claro in 20th place in front of Bruno Del Pino, who does well jumping up to Formula Regional, having been the rookie champion in Euro Cup 3 last year. 22nd is Costa Tapares. It's all gone wrong for Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. 23rd position for the son of the two-time world champion in Formula 1 and the Indy 500 winner from 1989. And Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. way down in 23rd. That's not where he wants to be at all. He was 5th in practice this morning, so it's all gone very badly wrong for him. Giovanni Mascio, 24th place, and then 25th for Noah Lyle. So all very exciting stuff as the battle continues. Everybody coming back to the pits at the end. So there is the provisional results. It showed Tarponen as being in pole position. Now, the reason that graphic has come up again with the entry list rather than the times from the session is that we've already gone straight into Q2. So it's already gone into a we've already started moving rapidly, quickly. So qualifying 2 is already getting underway. So the battle will continue here at YAS Marina as we gear ourselves up ready for the second session.